Hello and welcome to episode 12 of a football chat show. Big episode, crikey. 12 episodes. Can you believe it, Jamie?
Truthfully, no.
There we go. Jamie's back again, everyone, as you just heard from his dulcet tones. I don't quite know what that means. I just hear
could be a
someone
bad
else
thing.
use it a lot. I think it means like recognizable, but I'm not sure.
Pleasant to the ear, I'll take that.
There we go.
Not that you knew that's what it meant, but
no, fair enough. No, fair enough. Anyway, I mean, it's a big week of football, especially for you. I mean, I think if we had recorded this last night, you wouldn't have been as chipper as you are tonight. Let's put it that way. Especially, you probably wouldn't look on the last week as happy as you will. But let's just address it. Last week, obviously, we did a full prediction. We haven't done that in a very long time. And none of us got a correct scoreline, as in the exact score of the match, which is not ideal, is it? But I I predicted 7 results correct, which I'm quite happy with.
Yeah, that's banging.
And Jamie got 5, which is still like a decent score. Let's be honest. Half of the results on a weekend.
Considering for like the first 3 podcasts, I didn't get a single thing right.
Yeah.
So to get a 5 in one podcast is quite good.
A lot of mine were just like, I think Newcastle are going to win. Or like, I think they're going to, I think Norwich will be all right. Do you know what I mean? I just guessed and I was like, I didn't expect it, but yeah, it's crazy. Anyway, let's start by looking at some of those results from the weekend. We're only going to focus on 2 because only 2 of them really stand out and deserve the airtime. And obviously one of them, unfortunately, involves your team again. It feels like every week we come on here and we just slag off your team, don't we?
Solid result, I reckon. Watford
for Manchester United won. I don't.
Can you guess how many goals I watched?
Oh, we should play this. Actually, we should have played this when Ole was there. That would have been so fun. So 4-1. I'm gonna go. You watched. I don't think you watched any. I think you turned it off. 2. I was gonna go 1, and you turned it off. I wouldn't have been surprised if you had turned it off after the penalty miss, because apparently you were abysmal. Obviously it was a 3 o'clock kickoff, so I didn't risk the viruses to watch Manchester United. I wish I had. But
I found it hilarious because David De Gea has clearly taken this Villarreal thing quite seriously and has now saved 3 penalties in a row after not saving 40, which is quite impressive.
They were good pen saves, really good pen saves. The one, because he made 2, didn't he? I don't know if you're counting.
Yeah, only one of them counts, but I'm saying he made 2 because he saves 2 penalties.
They were both decent saves, especially the second one.
He doesn't know that someone's in the box. Exactly. So he's not going to let it in because he's seen him encroaching.
Anyway, the result obviously was the end of Ole's
tenure. He knew at halftime. 100%.
Yeah, I read a report. I don't know if you did. You probably did see the same thing, that apparently the dressing room at halftime was quite subdued.
Can you? Yeah, I'm sure they were buzzing, mate.
Well, it's obviously 2-0 is never a nice scoreline. It's never a nice scoreline for anyone. If you're winning, you're always a little bit like, if they get 1, there's a bit of momentum. 1 goal, 1 more they could get. But from what I read, Ole wasn't really G'ing the players up, and then 2 more went in. I mean, it's not worth analysing it now. I did think we were going to potentially do a flash pod on Sunday, but we didn't end up doing that in the end. I thought maybe we'll save it, see what comes out over the week. But why don't you give us like a little few minutes on your kind of like summing up of the United first half? Because I mean, you didn't need to watch the second half. It was more of the same, really, wasn't it? Not great.
Yeah. Look, it's just about what United have been for the past, 3 months, maybe more. Well, this is the beginning of the season, isn't it? I mean, I've said what feels like hundreds of times on this podcast that we played well against Leeds, and then after that was it. And after that, we haven't really strung together performances. And that's just really shown through like massively in the past 2 weeks. And obviously it doesn't matter as much anymore because Ole isn't there. I think he has left 2 weeks late, probably.
Yeah, for sure.
It was a really poor decision not to let him go during the international break, because you could have potentially, beaten Watford. It's an extra 3 points. I mean, you should beat Watford. It's Watford. They're not a team that United should be worrying about. So yeah, it was a poor decision to have kept him for that game, and we paid the price for it. and then obviously got rid of him anyway. So
The thing is,
baffles me.
I read something earlier. I can't remember who wrote it. I don't know if it was on the Athletic or something else, but they said like the plan, obviously, well, not the plan, was like they didn't sack Ole because they didn't know what to do next, and they were like, we're going to buy us some time because he should beat Watford, should get a result against Villarreal, maybe uses against Chelsea, but it gives us an extra bit of time to sack him, and we figure out where we want to go. And then they just sacked him anyway, and they still didn't know where they want to go, is what I read. And I was like, it's just an abysmally run football club.
There was no plan. There's no plan. It was like, yeah, I can't fathom how you could let him go past the international break. It's just so obvious that it's not working and he's not right. But this game in what it is, it was like the Liverpool game again at the first half. But if they could finish, it would have been 6.
Yeah,
maybe. It was really, really bad. And not to change the defense up before half time again was criminal. I mean, he'd lost his job in the 30th minute. But it's kind of gone now.
I
hope that kind of performance isn't,
it is unfortunate, because I guess for a Watford fan, you'd be a bit like, we just smacked Manchester United, we need a little bit of credit. But there is also like that looming factor that Man United were that bad. Do you know what I mean? Like, as good as Watford were, it's like it's always got a couple with something, isn't it? And that other thing is that Watford were not great. It's a shame, really, because they're not going to get the airtime that they deserve, because obviously they did deserve the win in the end. Let's be honest, they did.
Of course they did.
So I mean,
I would never be undermining them. Look, you have to be a good team to beat a big club. You always do, even if the big club is playing awfully. We still have those players that can cause problems at any moment.
Jadon Sancho and Ronaldo and Van der Beek proved that, really.
Exactly.
Out of nowhere, that ball from Sancho is amazing.
He's without being on fire, kind of good at the moment.
Yeah. Whipped it into the back post. Lovely little knockback from Ronaldo. Good goal from Van der Beek. But I mean, obviously Harry Maguire got dismissed in the second half. Just woeful from him. I've heard a really good saying, actually, and I mean, a lot of this podcast so far is me just been ripping off what other people have said. But someone said often captains are reflective of their manager. You look at Roy Keane and Sir Alex Ferguson, like Ramos and Zidane, like people like that, quite classy, quite elegant, but with a little nasty streak. And then Klopp with Henderson. Maguire was the split image of Ole, out of his depth, not knowing what he's doing, shouldn't be in the position he's in. Do you know what I mean? It's not saying Maguire shouldn't be a Manchester United centre-back. It's saying he shouldn't be captain of Manchester United. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. I thought that was a really, really nice way, not nice way of putting it, but a really thoughtful way of looking at it and going, actually, this is why Maguire's struggling. But yeah, I mean, obviously there was a lot of progress throughout the week. It looked like Poch maybe was going to head in. When that was, we don't know. There was a lot of names thrown about, really. I mean, all the usual suspects were kind of in the conversation. Zidane, Rodgers, Poch, Ten Hag. I mean, Steve Bruce was in there for a bit. That's not a usual suspect. I mean, that was just a bit crazy. But it looks like Manchester United are about to appoint Ralf Rangnick. Is it Rangnick?
Look, I don't actually know. I'd say
Ralph.
Rangnick. Definitely Ralph
is about to be appointed as Manchester United interim manager for 6 months with a 2-year consultancy role to follow. I mean, I knew you said this, actually.
I did.
I think you did 2 or 3 weeks ago that this is what you want. So I know you're buzzing.
I said, if Man United make the right decision, which we won't, we will sign Ralf Rangnick for interim and then sign Poch in the summer. But we won't do that because we never make the right decision. And I don't want to jump the gun on this because it's really, really easy to jump the gun on Man United because sometimes they make a decision that looks like a good decision, but it just isn't. But this might be the only right footballing decision we've made since Sir Alex left the club. And actually, maybe even before that. Maybe, I mean, the Glazers took over in 2005. And since then, we've had real trouble on the footballing side of things. We were saved a lot by Sir Alex just being
Sir Alex.
Exactly. So if this is what it looks like, which is a 6-month contract for Ralf Rangnick, which in itself is actually a bit of a risk because he doesn't have a ton of managerial experience. He's a coach and a director of football more than anything.
Yeah.
Not really even a director of football. He is kind of just he will manage the fuck out of your club.
Yeah. The way I've kind of read it is he's going to go in, coach, as you say, like coach as in he's not going to be manager, because there's a difference between manager and coach. Managers do a lot of admin, whereas coaches coach, like that's the name of the role.
I think
but while he's coach, I think he's going to do the scouting for the next manager.
Yep.
That's what I'm kind of reading into it based off his history.
This is why
he's going to go, what group of players have I got? What manager out there is going to suit them? Do you know what I mean? And a lot of people are saying that he plays quite similar to Ten Hag, so it's potentially going to be Ten Hag and not Poch. But I mean,
I think the club want Poch, the board wants Poch. I mean, we've again 6 months changes a lot in football, so we'll see where we are in the summer.
I think. Sorry, just to interject again, we've been talking a lot over the last week, and we've said that it's kind of obvious that Poch is not going to win the Champions League. So it kind of leaves what he does in the summer, like it the way PSG are, they're quite ruthless, so they'll probably dismiss him, or he'll walk. And I think more likely is probably dismiss him is probably a bit sweeping, but I do think he'll walk, because I actually don't think he's genuinely happy there.
No,
you don't see a lot of stuff coming out of Poch
I genuinely believe that he wants that United job and has done for a while.
So I think he'll walk, and I think Zidane will end up at PSG, which I think is kind of written in the stars that he's going to be there at some point, isn't he?
Yeah.
And I think the Zidane going there could sway PSG in terms of like Mbappe staying, but I don't know. I don't want to make too much of a fleeting statement.
I don't think that will, but I've made my views on Mbappe very clear.
But yeah, it looks like at this point you're going to be in a lot better space going forward. If you just want to say anything you've got to say on it, I'm more than happy to hear it.
Yeah, I mean, the reason I think this is, again, I need to keep prefacing everything with, if this is how it works. If he comes in, he won't manage for Chelsea, he won't have work permit or whatever. So he'll be in for next week.
Who have you got?
Hopefully. I don't know. Is it Champions League again next week?
No, it's midweek. It's like the prime week where all the games are on prime. You've got Arsenal on a Thursday night.
Joy. That's all right. Take that.
That's all right.
Home or away?
Home at Old Trafford.
So yeah, if he comes in and for this 6 months he coaches the shit out of this lot, because they haven't had a football coach for 3 years, and gets them into a space where they can play football in this kind of, well, this gegenpress that, Ralf Rangnick kind of spearheaded in Germany. If he can get them fit, if he can get them running, and get us into top 4, perfect. And then whoever comes in the summer takes over a squad that is fit and can play the football that they will play. Because I think a lot of the big managers play, kind of similar pressing football at the moment. Free flowing, attacking football. If he can get that in, and then the bit I'm excited for is at the end of the 6 months when he moves on to this consulting role. I really hope that's director of football. I really hope he is our first director of football, because there isn't a better one. If you look at the list of signings he made for Leipzig, it's mental. Both of the Leipzig clubs, Haaland and Mukiel. I mean, there's more than that, but
there's more than that. It's just ones off the top of your head you could think.
It's a lot of names that at the moment are like real big in football.
For sure.
And with a budget that is nothing like the budget that Man United have. I think it's a really, really, really promising move, and I think it's genius if it works the way that I envision it to.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, a lot of Man United fans are getting happy. I was actually with one of my Man United one of my uni friends, and he supports Man United, and he went to the toilet. He came back as the news broke, and I was like, "Oh, have you seen?" And he was like, "What?" I was like, Rangnick to United basically confirmed," and he was like, "What?" I was like, "Yeah." He was like, "No, you're taking the mick." I was like, "No, no, no." He was like, "Oh my god, that's amazing!" Like he was genuinely buzzing with it. Like, so I think that it's definitely something that United fans want, which I think is more than anything.
Yeah, I mean,
what you want to do.
I don't have any football people around me, so I was messaging my dad during a lecture today.
Yeah,
While it was happening, and to be honest, it just seems positive, around the United Twitter space, and I was going to say people I've talked to my dad,
yeah. But
and
I think
he
Twitter's
seems
often,
happy, so that's good.
yeah, I think Twitter's often a like good like survey in terms of like being able to gauge what people actually think about a situation. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah,
yeah, I think that's good. As you said, he won't be in charge for Chelsea, so I don't think we can skip ahead just for that, just to
no.
that.
But
Just yeah, have you
another
got any?
interesting part is that he rejected the Chelsea job,
Yeah, because of the
when
he wasn't
Lampard
going to
was
get.
sacked.
Yeah, because he wasn't going to
Because
get given the higher up afterwards, was he?
so he said he'd only take an interim job if he was given a position of, like, I'm going to call it footballing power. So that suggests to me that Ed Woodward and John Murto, or whatever his name is, I don't know, have given him, some assurances that he will be important in the footballing structure of Man United. And if that's true,
Yeah.
then I'm absolutely over the moon.
Yeah. Do you think that he is going to move into Woodward's type of role, or do you think it will be slightly
No,
different to that?
no, he won't have any control over money, which is what Woodward is. If you looked at the tree of Man United now, you have Joel Glazer at the top, and then Ed Woodward just under him as kind of that sole kind of contact to Joel Glazer, and then under that you have Richard Arnold, what's his face, John Murtow, and then footballing people under that. So we don't really have that we don't have a kind of football brain person in the structure. And if you can add someone of the stature as of Rangnick to that too, God, that excites me, man. That's really, really exciting.
That is good, yeah. Yeah, that is positive for Manchester United. Yeah, I mean that's obviously like the big Manchester United news that's come out this week. If we, as I said, if we'd done this 24 hours earlier, it was really probably going to be, is Poch the right man, etc., wasn't it? And
I tell you what, mate, some of our players are going to be absolutely blowing next week. I can tell you that. Yeah, they are.
Yeah, Ronaldo's going to be like, so what? No, I'm joking. But no, yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be an interesting. He's got quite a favourable run of fixtures after this Arsenal game.
I mean, yeah, because after we get past Arsenal, that's the other top five done.
Yeah, you don't play any of the top six until like March, I don't think.
Yeah, so
he could really take you on a run. You want him to basically go flawless, don't you?
He just needs top four. Yeah, he just needs top four. That's all he needs.
Yeah.
He's going to be run in the Champions League would be great.
Few teams were there. Yeah. It's going to be interesting.
I love that we've given him a 6-month contract. I hate the idea that he could have put a bunch of results together and then he'd be permanent. That would really wind me up. But 6-month contract is perfect.
Well, as I said, he's going to kind of like look at the squad and go, these players are going to suit this manager, or they're going to suit this manager. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, that's interesting. The only other result of note of the weekend was Liverpool Arsenal, 4-0 to Liverpool. It was a kind of what a lot of people were dubbing like it could be an upset. Arsenal could come to Anfield and prove that they've come on heaps and bounds since the start of the season, but that really wasn't the case, was it?
No.
They kept it competitive for 20 minutes. Arteta thought, I'll have a little bit of Jurgen Klopp, and that was the end of the game. Mane with a nice goal from a Trent corner. And then we just, for about 45 minutes, we literally ran up the field with the ball, lost it, got it back within 2 seconds, either scored, had a shot, or Ramsdale saved it, and then it would just repeat. Arsenal couldn't handle us. The youngsters at the back, Ben White, Tomiyasu, Tavares, and Gabriel, and even Ramsdale just looked a little bit out of their depth at points. Not a little bit; they were out of their depth after the first goal went in. Really, they could not contain Salah, Mane, and Minamino. and
I
Jota.
think especially.
But yeah, so that was the only other notable. I wish we could talk more about it, but there wasn't. I mean, Jota's goal was decent, wasn't it? He sat down Ben White and Ramsdale. But apart from that, there wasn't anything.
Yeah, I think Ramsdale made it a little bit easier for him because he just decided what he was going to do.
He committed so early, didn't he?
It was really early.
A bit weird, but yeah. Pardon me, I'd have a sip of water there. But yeah, I mean, that was it in the Premier League. The only other thing I've written down was there was 2 3-3s on the 3 o'clock kickoffs, which is always which is a rare thing.
Which is great because you can't watch any of them.
Yeah,
sick.
Yeah, I mean, Soccer Saturday is fun when that's happening. But no.
I can watch some middle-aged man scream in a studio.
But no, that was it for the Premier League. I mean, City routine victory against Everton. Spurs. I mean, Spurs and Leeds was quite.
It wasn't quite 5-0, which I was disappointed about.
But it was routine, though, wasn't it? It basically was 5-0. Everton were that bad. I think we're going to be talking about Rafa getting sacked in the next couple of weeks, but we'll have to wait and see.
I'll be in it.
Yeah, Rafa out, Ole in. Who says no? Everton.
It'll be Everton. Yeah.
I'm joking. No, so and obviously, I mean, we didn't look at it last week, but this week was the Champions League, the return of the Europe's Premier competition, which saw you take on Villarreal. Michael Carrick was interim manager. Again, this is quite an easy one to do.
Yep.
For 70 minutes, not good. For 20 minutes, very good. And you come.
I think there's nothing wrong with the game plan, right? As in, like, just tire him out for the first half at least, and then finish really strongly. And as a plan, worked really nicely. I mean, Jadon Sancho worked his socks off all night, more defensively actually than attacking. But got his first goal, and I don't think I've ever been happier for someone to score for United. That was
good finish as well.
Yeah, lovely finish. Obviously, Ronaldo scores again in the Champions League. He's now the first person to score in every group stage game for an English club ever.
Yeah, you kind of hope he starts in the next one just to do it. Isn't it any club?
Any English club.
Isn't it? I thought it was any club in the Champions League, not just English.
No, I think it's English.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
Even so,
it's still a mad stat, isn't it? It's crazy.
And if Chelsea can better or equal Juve's result in the next group stage game, they top the group, which means all the English clubs will top their groups.
Yes, it does.
Cool. Last time that happened was 2017.
Makes the draw quite fun.
Yeah.
I love the Champions League draw. I can't wait for that. I love it. It's so fun. But yeah, I mean, I agree. The game plan's not a bad one, especially when it's Carrick's his managerial bow. Really, he's kind of taken charge of his first.
Made some decisions. Dropped Bruno.
But my point more is it was a good game plan, but you didn't necessarily execute it perfectly because you still were.
Hey, with Man United, we don't execute anything.
But you know what I mean.
That's fine.
Yeah, you know what I mean. It wasn't the greatest performance, but it's kind of the past now, as you said. Like, I mean, the Chelsea game at the weekend is interesting because I think a lot of players will quite kind of trying to put themselves in Rangnick's eye line in his blinkers, but who knows? Elsewhere in the Champions League, do you want to say anything to finish that off, or you?
No. There's nothing. It wasn't very interesting as a game. 0-0 battering 45 minutes, and then
and then you switched it on. The big news of the round was Dortmund are officially out. They cannot progress in the Champions League. Erling Haaland, where does this leave him? I wanted to ask you this. Does this leave him looking for a move in January, or does it see him playing in the Europa League? What do you think? He's currently injured, and I'm not sure when he's due back. I don't think
it's massively serious, but that doesn't mean I know when he's back. But I think potentially, it does leave him open for a move in January because obviously Dortmund know that he will leave in the summer for 75 million if they don't sell him in January. And 75 million for him is a bit of a steal. So if you can get some extra cash for him while in January, then you would, wouldn't you? I know Dortmund have previously not done that in the Jadon Sancho debacle, and that was it pretty much. But I think you probably would take the money because Erling Haaland's not going to want to play in the Europa League. It's not his style, is it? So yeah, I mean, if anybody has the buying power in January to put in a bid
Manchester
for
City always do,
100
don't they?
and 100 and something million for Erling Haaland, yeah, I think he'd go.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I think that he's potentially going to be a bit unsettled. I
Hey,
mean,
Arsenal are looking for a new spearhead striker, so
I don't know if Arsenal's the right destination for
I'm
him. Let's put
joking.
it that way. But no, I think that yeah, it's a shame. There's some real good talent in that Dortmund side, but I
It's a
guess
real shame for Jude Bellingham, I think, more than
um,
anyone, really.
yeah, I think that although everyone already knows how good he is, do you know what I mean? Like
I
everyone
know, but you
knows.
still want to be playing against the best teams. You want to be sitting
Yeah,
Barca down.
he is
You don't
only
want to be.
18 though, so he's moving in the summer as well. I think so. I think that he's kind of.
Don't know, mate.
I wouldn't feel as bad if I was him. I think that it's gutting, but
Jude Bellingham's a 200 million pound player. I don't know that people will have that.
I think he is going in the summer. I don't think he can
Do you?
afford to stay at Dortmund. Yeah, I don't
I
think.
think he can. I think he will. That's my
Interesting. Anyway,
anyway.
again, it's a chat for another day. It's a chat for the January
True,
transfer
true,
window.
true.
City showed how good they are last night,
Again.
Wednesday night, again against PSG. With a 2-1 win. PSG took the lead after quite a elegant football fiesta in the first half.
Yeah, kind of.
In terms of it was total football, wasn't it? Both teams kind of showing how good they are. City obviously being the more dominant of the two.
Yeah.
And then Mbappe took the lead, quite unsurprisingly, really. And then City scored a scrappy goal to start, and then a wonderfully worked goal to win it. Bernardo Silva with a lovely little layback. Again, there's not much on that else really. I don't think it's difficult to do and analyze this in terms of is this how PSG play every week?
PSG set up like a mid-table Premier League side do against City, except they can pass out better than Burnley can. And they did a load of times. That in the first half they absolutely passed through that press like I've not seen anybody do in a long time.
It's just mental though, isn't it? Why do you do that with a squad that you've got? Like, why do you need to sit back and defend?
Because they don't press. They're not gonna. You can't play on the front foot because Messi's not going to play like that.
Yeah, but you can play the playing against. You can get the ball and pass them to death. You know what I mean? You can't. Keep the ball a lot better.
You can't play against City. You can't play against Pep like that, and think you're not and you're going to win as with that squad anyway. I think Liverpool can do it because they're so well drilled, and everyone is willing to give their fucking blood for that team.
Point,
Whereas this PSG side is not going to do that. Messi might run back after a ball he's lost for 2 seconds, but you're not going to get that full-hearted press that a Liverpool have, or
I guess that's a good point.
Or Chelsea do if they're playing, whatever. But not Chelsea, I meant City. So I think you have to set up to defend against them. I know they're not the same team, but it's like Barcelona in 2010-ish. When we played them in the Champions League final, we attacked them because that's how we play football, or did. Lol.
Yeah.
And that was the complete wrong decision. You can't attack that team because they play the way that Pep plays. They'll just take it off you and run through you. So you have to kind of defend with that intent. You have to counter them. And really, that's why Ole beat them so often. Is that you just got to be ready to pounce on that one mistake they make in the half and counter them.
Yeah, that's
which they did once and scored. But then second half, you just can't.
Yeah, I think it's why Zidane's the perfect guy. I think that Poch, he's not used to dealing with egos. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of egos in that team, and I think that. And when I say egos, it's not necessarily like
I don't think anyone succeeds with that.
That's fair enough. But my point is, I don't mean ego in a bad way. Do you know what I mean? Like, I mean ego is in like they are aware that they are a very talented footballer, and I think that
they're aware of it.
I think at Real Madrid he had that already, and he's already.
All three of them are bigger than that club, though. All three.
Yeah, but I think that arguably there's a few players that were at Real Madrid with Zidane
No
are
one's
bigger
bigger
than
than
the
Real
club.
Madrid. Real Madrid are the biggest club in football.
I
You
think
can't be bigger.
Ronaldo, you could argue, is. I think he definitely is, because just Ronaldo is a brand, isn't he? Like Real
Of course
Madrid's
he is.
not necessarily as a bigger brand as Ronaldo, in my opinion.
I don't think as a footballer you can be bigger than Real Madrid. It is the biggest club in football. And that is one of the reasons why there's one of the cases for Zidane being good at PSG is in that he's already managed the biggest club in world football.
Yeah, and this is why I think that he's already done that, dealt with the pressure, and then he's already dealt with the egos in terms of the like Ramos is definitely an ego, not in like a bad way, but he's definitely like someone that you've got to understand, and I don't think necessarily Poch will. Obviously Messi, Neymar, and Mbappe, they're all egos in their own way. Like Messi is an ego, isn't he? Like he's a
twat. Yeah, I mean, you've got to be
he
an arse.
knows he's like a good player. Mbappe knows it. I think Mbappe knows it and shows it the most out of them all. I think that Neymar.
Maybe it takes being that player to manage that player, because this is exactly what Zidane was, you know?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know, but I just think that he will suit it. But again, right now it doesn't look like Poch is going to leave. Like he might leave at the end of the season. We don't know. Like there's nothing to suggest right now that he's unhappy. But I think the logical thing is
I would put a fair amount of money on him being the next United manager after Ralf.
Yeah,
we'll
but I think that right now there's nothing to suggest that he's going to leave immediately. So it's not necessarily something we can cross now. But I think that it'll be an interesting chat when it comes out that he's not going to be the manager anymore. Who does take over? Because as I said, I think one of them's going to move on eventually in Messi, Mbappe, and Neymar. And maybe that's what they need. They need one of them to go in order for the team to function a bit better. But again, I don't know if with the amount of money PSG can throw around, I think it's always difficult to completely write off a player leaving a club like that. But
I don't back any manager to succeed at that club.
The only one I do is Zidane, because I think you can't ignore his record of the 3 Champions Leagues in a row. I think that's just that's historic. That I don't think anyone will ever do that again. Like 2 in a row is good. 3 in a row is like,
I mean,
okay, that's
Madrid
special.
have done it before. They've won it 4 times in a row before. But
was that when it was first yeah, I think there's difference now.
Yeah, I know there's a big difference, but I don't think anything's unrepeatable.
That's fair enough.
This is just as a concept anyway, but I really, really struggle to see Zidane working there. Not working there. I think he will work there, as in he'll have a job there.
Succeeding.
I don't know that I can. I mean, he'll win the league. Everybody does, but
you mean like succeeding, as in winning the Champions League?
I don't see them winning the Champions League.
I mean, he's got to make them a bit more pragmatic, hasn't he? He's got to make them able to beat teams over 2 legs.
Yeah.
But anyway, there's enough talk on PSG. The other 2 results, the English clubs, Chelsea battered Juve. I mean, Juve are not Juve of even 3 years ago. They've regressed to a point where it's an unrecognisable team.
Ronaldo is the problem, though.
Yeah, I know. I mean, maybe he was and still is in the sense. Do you know what I mean? Because they relied on his goals so much.
Oh, right. The opposite.
As in when he was there, he was obviously Pirlo couldn't manage him. Like Pirlo, why he was ever in that job to start with. And in terms of
Madness.
He couldn't settle him in the second year, and then now he's gone. While he still maybe wasn't necessarily what they needed, he was exactly what they needed. You know what I mean? They didn't replace him well enough, did they? I mean, they only got £20 million from him in the end, didn't they? So it's difficult to replace with that. And then obviously Liverpool played Porto, and Thiago Alcantara scored one of the best goals I've ever seen in my life.
Are you joking me?
Mate, oh my God. Have you seen it from behind?
I can't believe you've just said that.
Mate, have you seen it from behind?
Yes, of course I've seen it from behind. I can't believe you've just said that.
Outrageously good. It's so good. The technique on that is so difficult. If it was easy, people would do it every week, but they don't.
Of course.
All right, it's so good. It's so good.
Fine.
But yeah, I mean, Liverpool 15 out of 15 now in the group, so they're 10 points clear, so comfortably in the next round. The weekend fixtures, I think we're only going to preview one, but again, it's not easy to preview it right now, and it's Chelsea versus United. The only fixture that really matters. I can see you've just written 0-0 in here. Is that just because you think that players are going to play well to try and get in Ragnick's eye line?
No, I think Chelsea won't concede because they don't really. They're not a big fan of conceding goals. And the nil on our side, on their side, is a dream.
Okay, that's fair.
I'm really hoping that they don't score. We won't score, but I'm hoping that they don't.
Do you think they'll be knocked off course by the Chilwell news at all, or do you think that they've got the replacement ready-made in Alonso?
Look, Marco Alonso was playing there before Chilwell was playing at the beginning of the season, so I don't think it's a problem for them at all.
I tend to agree. I thought I'd just put it out there.
No, I think that'll be fine.
Yeah, I do agree. I don't know how to predict this one. Maybe I'll go 1-1. I'll go you will score because I think there'll be a few players that are trying to impress.
Look, I think it's really, really difficult for me to say that we're going to keep a clean sheet against Chelsea at the Bridge with the current team we have available.
I also think it's not out of the realm of possibilities that you will get a result. In terms of, I don't think it's going to be through Carrick's coaching. I don't think it's going to be through his tactical setup, so to say. I think it will be because he'll set the team up with the resources he has the best he can to then get a result. Do you know what I mean? The players will then do what they do because they are good players. Let's be honest. They were just receiving not great coaching, although the coaches are the same.
I think man for man, there's an argument that we have a better team than Chelsea.
I think that's definitely a conversation to be had. I think there's definitely arguments in it.
But yeah, they're coached by one of the best managers in the world. So
yeah, exactly. I do think though that there's definitely a situation where you either win, and I genuinely do mean this, where you win or get a score draw out of this game, because I do think that you will score. I think there's going to be players like Van der Beek, even if he's only a cameo as a sub. I think that he's probably going to go back to Bruno, and he's got to go back to Bruno for a game like this. And maybe he'll go with them both, who knows? But I think that Van der Beek's got to play himself into a contention for the new manager. And I think that players like Ronaldo, we know his class. Sancho is going to be wanting to impress. Rashford as well. So yeah, I think I'll go with 1-1 for this game.
That's fair enough.
I do think it'll be a draw. Should we pick 3 other fixtures and predict them just on a whim and just go? We do 3 every week and we'll just go with that.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Which one do you want to do?
We're actually going to have a bit of a difficult week next week because there's a lot of midweek fixtures, so I'm not sure how we're going to do that. We might have to do Monday and then Thursday or something, I don't know. But anyway, okay, let's go for Arsenal Newcastle. I think we should do because of
agreed.
Arsenal and Newcastle, the situations they're in.
God, Newcastle are scoring a lot of goals, aren't they?
Yeah, I think that I do think Arsenal will win. I think they do have a bit more quality. And although I think Newcastle are probably much improved, I need Newcastle to not win because of part of my uni art project. I'm writing. I've got a sentence that says Newcastle are the only team out of the top 4 leagues in England to not win a game yet. So I need them to not win. Otherwise, I can't submit that piece of work.
Have they not won a game?
No, they haven't. They've not drawn 6, lost 7, won none.
That's mental.
Yeah, it's not ideal, is it? So
Plymouth lost the other day. Man, I was so annoyed.
So Wycombe Wanderers as well. Akinfenwa.
Anyway, we lost to Watford, and then Bethan was like, "Oh, if it makes you feel any better, Plymouth lost as well." I was like, "How is that meant to make me feel any better? What? They're my team that I go to that are good in their league." Oh,
yeah, so I think I'm going to go. Sad. What are you going to go for Arsenal Newcastle?
I think Newcastle will score. I want them to win. I really do. So I'm gonna go. Oh Christ! 2-1 Newcastle.
Okay, I'm going 2-1 Arsenal. So there we go.
Because I really, really hate Arsenal. Let's just hope.
Oh yeah, can you put it in for me?
Yeah, yeah.
Let's go for
City West Ham's quite a big
Let's
game.
go City West Ham. Yeah, that's a big one. I mean, let's be honest. Can you look past City?
Yeah, you can.
Again, I think West Ham might score, but I think their loss against Wolves is kind of it is telling in terms of like it shows exactly where they are. Like they can win huge like games against Liverpool and then drop points against teams that they should, after beating Liverpool, be expected to beat. Do you know what I mean?
It's like Wolves of old.
Yeah.
Anyway, I predicted a battering from City last week. I thought they'd beat Everton 5-0. I don't think they'll beat West Ham 5-0. I think they're too.
I thought you were about to say, and I'm going to go for it again.
No, I don't think that West Ham are as poor as Everton have been. So I'm going to go 2-0 because
2-0 City.
It's slightly worse. Sorry,
again,
slightly better.
I think West Ham will score.
Okay.
So I think I'm going to go
3-1.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go 3-1 City. Yeah. And then let's go for one more, which we can do as, let's do Brentford Everton. Actually, that's a good one.
Yeah. I think this could be real bad.
For Everton or for Brentford?
Everton.
Okay, I'm going to go first on this one. I'm going to go, I think Brentford will win 2-0.
Yeah, I think that's probably fair. I'm not going to go the same because that would be boring. What am I going to do though?
6. That is crazy, Jamie.
That would be nuts, but also really cool.
I don't think it's going to get that bad. I think that Rafa won't.
4-1.
4-1. Wow. So Jamie's basically gone, the other two, I might get a result, but I'm going to whack it out there and go Brentford.
4-1.
It's written now, Son and Rondon hat-trick.
It's not out of the realm of possibility.
No, so it's funny, isn't it? Because you said it's the derby. We're playing them next week.
Yeah.
Next Thursday. It'll be interesting to see if they do lose heavily to Brentford, what they do. Do they go, bang, you're out, Ferguson in for the derby, so you can just shout at all the players?
I think if they lose this game, which I think they will, then the derby is a big game. Big game.
It's huge. It's massive, yeah.
Then I think if you get trounced by Liverpool, then you've got to be...
I don't think we'll trounce them because they beat us last year at Anfield, and I think we're playing them at Anfield next week.
Yeah, didn't they beat you in your run of being absolutely woeful, though?
Yeah, and it was only 2-0, and there was a penalty that probably shouldn't have been a penalty.
Only 2. Hang on a second. Which penalty was it? Was it the Trent one that you think,
he's sliding in and he's kicked him in the head? Anyway, it's at Goodison, and we had a good game against them last year. We went up 2 times. We ended up drawing.
Let's see if Van Dijk can leave with a kneecap this time.
Oh my God, mate. It's going to be intense, isn't it? Do you know what? I reckon he could actually just not play Van Dijk and just go... just don't go near Pickford. I'm just going to...
We're not playing Van Dijk because Pickford is an absolute fucking psychopath.
Yeah, so, I actually reckon he might, because Konate and Matip played against Porto, so I reckon he could potentially go with that. But who knows? That's still a week away, and anything can happen between now and then. But yeah, I think Everton are in trouble over the next couple of weeks because it's at Goodison. If he loses heavily to Liverpool at Goodison, that's never a good look for any manager, Everton manager, is it? So, especially, well, we're looking a bit better on the injury front now, but there was quite a few first team members missing. I mean, a lot of teams are struggling. There's been a few ACLs in the last few weeks. Bonner did his against Liverpool. It's gone slightly under the radar. But yeah, I've gutted for him, but I think West Ham are just flipping stupid. He's like, mate, my knee hurts a lot. And they were like, yeah, play on 10 minutes extra. Go on, carry on. He's like, mate, I've literally ripped the ACL in my knee. And they're like, that's right, you'll be right. Don't worry, you'll be fine. But anyway, that about sums up the football this week. We're heading into a very busy period of Christmas. It'll be busy in terms of football. It'll be busy in terms of Christmas being Christmas. So
Brilliant.
the podcast are going to be a bit all over the place right over Christmas, I think. We'll try and get them out as often as we can, but who knows? Who blimmin' knows? Jamie, thank you very much for joining me.
More than welcome.
If you've made it this far, like, comment, subscribe, and share, and follow us on Twitter, which is @FootyChatShow, and on Instagram. We haven't used Instagram as much recently, but it's @FootyChatShow as well.
No, but the Twitter is well worth a follow.
Yeah, it's not bad, is it?
No, you keep up pretty well.
Yeah, I try 3 a day if I can, because I'm a bit busy, so 3 a day is obviously not awful. But yeah, follow us on all of these accounts if you can, and we will speak to you guys soon. Bye.
Cheers.